Hello, and welcome back to Helldivers. I don't remember what planet I'm on. It's a bug planet with earthquakes. It's an ugly planet. A bug planet. Ah, I gotta rewatch Starship Troopers again. But nothing after the first one, they just get really bad. Which is a shame, because I love Starship Troopers. How they consistently screwed up is beyond me. Yeah, you don't even need me to... Okay, yeah, now you need me to actually rocket strike him. I didn't see the second Bile Titan. Okay, Bile Titans are dealt with. Yay team. But I saw interesting thing actually talked about all over. I saw Kotaku talk about it. Did I read the article? God, no, it's Kotaku. I avoid that website like the plague. I just saw it on Twitter. They were trying to share it, and I was like, I will read the title. And then I saw Bellular News cover it, which they're actually a news source I think is decent. So I was like, okay, I'll watch the Bellular News video on it. And what it was, as the title suggests, it's the discussion of, does the current AAA live service model work? Now, everybody argues no, it doesn't. Which... I understand where they're coming from, but I also think they're all wrong. I know, me railing against everybody else, wild idea, I know. But, hear me out. I don't think that it's the business model that is flawed, it is the method in which they go about it. Please don't be one of those people who just hoovers up all the damn ammo. Like... I really hate when people do that. But, back to this, my point is, like, the model, the free-to-play model works. The live service model works. These games are just bad. Like, that's the biggest takeaway with every one of these games. Suicide Squad, terrible writing, lack of game modes. They really took everything down. Well, I hope they can carry, because they just kind of set themselves up to be doing that. That didn't get destroyed. Fine, I'll go do it. But Suicide Squad, terrible design. Gotham Knights wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. Anthem. The flaw with Anthem was never that the business model sucked. The game was just really half-assed, tragically. Because the idea was cool. Because with every game like this, or you could even say Bungie with Destiny. Destiny, I saw, what's his name? I just know part of his name, Biff, B-Y-F. He did a video recently asking, like, where's the mystery in Destiny? And I'm like, the mystery is how they kept screwing this game up every time. Because, like, the monetization practices... Monetization can only carry you so long. If your game is bad, then people aren't gonna pay. Okay, I dove. Should have negated the poison, but whatever. But so this is kind of the problem of... You have to have a game that's good to earn money and be successful. The biggest steaming pile of crap will not be successful even if you give the best monetization options. Because then it's just, hey, you're still playing a terrible game, but we gave you all these ways that you can give us money. Like, nah, that's not how any of this works. Because Warframe will always stand out as, yes, it is grindy. There's a reason when you search like Warframe logo, one of the first things you find is War Farm. Because people acknowledge, like, yeah, game's grindy as hell. It's a bit rough when it comes to that. But when it comes down to it, it's also the most player-friendly. Because you can just earn stuff, you can farm stuff out, and just sell it to other people. Oh, that's gonna be... Yeah, it's just gonna hit some... Okay. That rocket just kept going. Ah. Everybody's right here. So this whole discussion of, like, the monetization methods, like, that's not the big thing. Hell, Dust 514, the monetization in that game was the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Like, you had loot boxes, you had... How was it? You had loot boxes, you had the Aurum gear, for anyone who'd never played that game. So think of Tarkov. You know, if you die, you lose your gear. Then put that into a game like Battlefield. So every time you die with, like, an AK, you have to go buy a new AK. Then, to go a step further, then say, okay, now there are skill requirements for your AK, and you can buy special versions that have higher stats but lower skill requirements. With real money, you could buy those, but if you died, you lost them. That was Aurum gear. You had the 4 tiers, Militia, Standard, Advanced, and Prototype, and then you could just buy, like, advanced gear with standard skill requirements. For the life of me, I just could not bring myself to actually pay for anything in that game, because I was like, this is weird. When it was stuff like, there was a pack you could get, a buddy of mine bought it, that gave you, like, the Toxin and Militia SMG as a BPO, so you had infinite uses, and a couple sets of weapons and armor that were infinite uses. That stuff I understood. Was it shady? I wouldn't say shady, it's just you were kind of buying just like low tier gear for infinite use, which I think if they had actually gotten the PvE elements in would have been actually an amazing investment. But we never got to that, so they were kind of meh. But it's like a game like that was able to survive admittedly 3 years before being shut down, and it wasn't because of really strange monetization practices, it was because they never ported the game.
Calling in orbital strike.
It released on PS3 and it died on PS3, much to my dismay.
retreat.
Would you believe that I took the localization disruption again?
How'd you like the taste of freedom?
This is why I keep saying automatons are better. Because at least with automatons, I don't have bugs crawling up my ass every 3 minutes.
How about a nice cup of liver tea?
15 seconds till I can resupply. Which I am going to need desperately. This is why I want the grenade pistol. This way I can just look at those guys, thump a round off, and go. Kind of surprised we don't have a an armor set that improves like carried ammo overall. But I think I know why, because that would instantly be like the meta armor. That's what I'd run. I just run this because it's chance to shrug off a lethal wound.
Air sample acquired. Requesting air support. Sample collected.
But yeah, just this monetization debacle, it just feels very weird because it's another matter of people kind of putting the cart before the horse. Where it's like, oh, they failed because of this. It's like, no, these games were just bad. Every one of these failed live service games has...
Bug outpost spotted. Prepare to exterminate.
They have problems that are core issues.
Sending in an eagle.
I wish these games had just, oh, the devs were greedy.
Calling down a sentry.
I mean, at this point, that's kind of the story of Destiny right now, is devs have gotten kind of greedy, but that's not even the devs, that's higher-ups demanding more money.
Mag. Calling down a sentry.
Oh, there's 3 of them.
Marking location northeast.
Well, turret lasted a second. See, times I wish I had like a 320 barrage, but it's kind of like using something like that for a very isolated instance. I will say one thing with this whole live service failing, I think it's going to cause some studios to kind of look at the wrong issues. There's also the matter of like,
Sending in an eagle.
look at Sony. Sony was starting to walk back their ambitions of all these live service games, and then Helldivers became successful. And I guarantee, mark my words, they are going to redouble their efforts now.
Requesting air support.
Because they will believe that anything is possible.
Democracy has been well delivered. Layer extraction swift. Dropping a pin. East 300.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft tried doing like a Halo
Tagging location. South.
Helldivers game. You know, ODST,
Never mind.
and go from there.
Bug outpost.
Because that would make sense. mostly that's not even because of like live service mechanics. That's just because they would be like, oh, well, this succeeded, so we'll just do that, but our version.
Sending enemy! Calling in reinforcements!
Oh, we're just on extract now. Cool. Okay, let's start leaving then. Can we make it out this way? Yes. I want to try to cover for our green guy here.
Mag's empty!
One thing I do think is a problem, though, with the live service elements is these games take too long to make. So they're always behind on whatever the current kind of trend, both for a live service game in general and for monetization. So they're constantly having to start over and try to pick up where the new hip thing is. Because it's this fear of, oh, we don't want to be dated in our design or our practices. But then you get these weird timing issues. Like right now we have a ton of games coming out that are like, I'm trying to think, what was all shown at the Game Awards this year? It's been a while and I typically just kind of forget. Where is he? Okay, he's just around the edge. But so we have a bunch of like cyberpunk extraction shooters. And it's like, okay, so you guys probably, benefit of the doubt, you started working on this 2020. Do I think they started working only in 2020? God, I think some of these were rushed further. I think a lot of them are most likely battle royales that are repurposed. Because that's what we see from a lot of these games, is kind of a repurposed shell. But so we're gonna have this weird instance where a bunch of cyberpunk games are coming out, and it's just gonna flood the market, instead of having these have come out more organically. But it's also the curse, going from last video about innovation, a part of it's trend chasing. These guys took way too long, in some cases, to chase trends. And it's like, no, you don't want to be the trend chaser, you want to be the trend setter. But it seems like everybody wants to avoid the risk of setting a trend while also getting the benefits of the trend, or setting the trend. It's like, no, you can't get both. Okay, he's got a... Thought that rail cannon had him. Oh.
Requesting orbital strike.
Oh, he's dead. He's just frozen. He's just standing there, menacingly.
ETA T-minus 30 seconds. Throwing grenade! Heavy, we're sending in an eagle. ETA T-minus 20 seconds.
Oh. Ah, that was a bad shot. Oh, he's dead. Who cares?
ETA T-minus 10 seconds. Clear landing zone.
I'm not even gonna waste the shot. That dude is so cut up at the moment, it's not even funny.
Pelican 1, landing in progress. Sending in an eagle. Countdown initiated. Stand by for takeoff.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. It might have been someone else's 500 kilo that came in and he just didn't even realize it.
Extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning ascent. You have maintained our way of life.
So this team is already... They were already a mission in when I joined, so... This is the last one for their run, which is fine. No big deal. Oh, this is just find the launch codes for the ICBM. We don't have to carry a suitcase. Oh, this is easy.
Requesting air support.
Because that should be up by the building.
Fire in the hole. Requesting tac pack.
Sucks burning all my grenades, but they're all dead.
Sample collected.
Something I was thinking of when we were loading in is the fact with live service is another big problem these games fail is everybody's trying to make them. I've said it before, live service is a net negative because the industry relies on the churn. It relies on people buying games and shifting through. If everybody just plays the same game, then there's no incentive to make new games. And honestly, it's already bad enough.
300 meters.
A prime example is like, look at football games. Football games are in an awful position.
Plug hole. Southeast. 300 meters.
Like, current Madden, my brother tells me about it, and the stuff I see and I've heard with that game, it is amazing that people still, like, pay for that game.
Allied destroyer joining squadron, deploying Helldiver to combat zone. Terminid hive structure destroyed. Calling in reinforcements.
Alright, I was gonna try to call him in, but I was also trying to move.
South.
But yeah, like, no game, or very few games, should live forever. Typically, games that do that are MMOs.
Calling in orbital.
And while they capture a portion of gamers, it's not all of them. And it's not... I mean, we did have an instance of that. We did have everyone trying to make MMOs back... God, when was that? 13, 14 years ago? Everybody was trying to make them? Because I think... No, that was even earlier, because that was around when WoW got real big early. Because 2010, 2011, 2012, early 2013, that was the MOBA craze. Yeah, we'll go blow up the speaker. I can probably just long bomb it when I see it. Yeah, that was that craze back then. Man, I just wish we'd get, like... I just want some of the old games back. I want a new Killzone. One that doesn't suck. God, one that doesn't suck. Shadowfall was not Killzone 2. Which, that's what I love the most, is you could... If you wanted to make a live service Killzone game, you could. Because what I would do is I'd make it in the vein of PlanetSide. Just two factions duking it out, and you go from there. The 3-faction or more system works, but I think, at least for a PlanetSide or a Killzone game, you can't really do it because there isn't enough factions.
Reloading.
But for other games, you could even just make a generic, totally not PlanetSide. I think that's what Ubisoft really should have done with their... What was it? Ghost Recon Frontlines? I really think they should have transitioned that to a normal, like, large-scale shooter. Even if it wasn't, like, PlanetSide level, even just kind of a current-era COD Ground War-esque design, I think would do really well. Now, should you go under the name Ghost Recon? Hell no. Honestly, I think someone needs to slap whoever in Ubisoft keeps being like, yeah, put Ghost Recon on it. Like, no. Let the franchise reboot and rest.
Dropping a pin, northeast, 200 meters.
It's kind of like how Splinter Cell went from, like, Chaos Theory, an amazing stealth game, to, what was it, Conviction? Which was more or less an action movie.
Northeast, marking location.
And let's be honest, especially using, like, the Tom Clancy name on stuff, the man's been dead for at least, I think, 10 years. How many people even know who Tom Clancy is? If you're the kind of person who's into military fiction, sure, you know the guy. But if you're Joe Blow from Kokomo, you don't know who that is. Or if you're like a teenager, you're not gonna know Tom Clancy. You're gonna think that's a guy who worked on the game.
Tagging location.
I don't know, I just... In general, the live service method works. Everybody's just gotta cool down with it and actually make games worth supporting potentially perpetually. But that's also another thing I saw discussed, is studios need to start planning for long-term support. Because they pointed out the average age of the top games right now for consoles is like 5 to 7 years old for these games, and the average age of the PC market is like 7 to 10.
Foghole, northwest, 200 meters.
Which that says a lot when these games have been going for 7 to 10 years. It shows you something's wrong when your average game is that old. Clearly, your new stuff is not popping off like it should. And you can sit and say, oh, well, it's because these games already captured the market. And while I do believe... Oh, didn't want to hit that, but I'm dumb and fat-fingered it.
Sending in an eagle.
Yeah, rocket pods. But I don't think market capture is that powerful in this instance. It isn't the definitive answer of like, oh, that's why. Valorant's done well, and it's directly competing with CSGO. Do I think Valorant is good? No, I still think the game sucks, but that's just because I don't like... I don't like CSGO S&D style games. I just think they're boring. I hate One Life. I think it's not appealing.
New mag. Rare sample acquired.
I'm in it for the war feel, not the super sweaty try hard. I'm totally gonna get picked up by FaZe Clan. I swear, guys. I just need to win this promo match kind of deal. It's not me.
Tagging location. East.
And I think a big part, too, is like a lot of games that have potential we're kind of just sitting and waiting on right now. Like Shatterline. I think it's a cool idea. But for the time being, we're still waiting for like, I think they haven't done a full release yet. I know there was talk of a console release, which I think would help the game immensely, but it's small studios. It takes time. You gotta do a port. Nobody wants to do a half-assed port, even though you still get them. Oh, he needs help. Alright, I gotta stop falling off stuff and just breaking my shins further.
Requesting sentry. On tunnel bridge. Requesting orbital strike. Requesting sentry.
Autocannon Sentry Gang. At least if we can open his arm up, that's better than nothing. But yeah, there's so many facets to everything. And yeah, we're in a weird time.
Reinforcing. Calling in reinforcement.
Really? My reinforced bounced all the way back there? Okay.
Request approved. Deploying reinforcements. I'm on it.
But I am interested in seeing like what studios plan to do for long-term support of these games. I don't think they're going to do much. I think for games like CSGO, I think what we saw with, or what we've seen with them is kind of the future of quote-unquote support. You know, CS2, which people aren't too happy with, and like, I remember during the Battle Royale craze, when CSGO released their own Battle Royale, same as Warface, they tried to do it. And I don't think making like a sequel is a bad thing. As long as you carry stuff over, it's not a... I say that while having to put a caveat here. It's not a problem as long as it's like a free sequel, which I know that's kind of touchy for some people. But it's kind of hard to be like, oh hey, you've been playing this game, now pay us again to continue playing. Otherwise you don't get your stuff. That is a really tough move to pull on someone, which is kind of why stuff like Warzone is free. Granted, I do think Warzone, if they really, really wanted money, what I would do is I would kind of make Warzone into what COD Mobile is. You make it your greatest hits for maps, or the other option is you turn it into 4 modes. You got your Battle Royale / Plunder. I know for Warzone 1 they had like a Ground War-esque mode. You add that. This way you're also getting to kind of recycle these bigger Warzone maps without just abandoning them, because honestly there's a lot of, like, the Verdansk variations are cool. Like the one with the fissures. That would make for interesting multiplayer maps. You add that, and then from there, you add all your other maps. You do DMZ, because it was popular, and it made money, so you might as well just keep going with it. And no one's really going to oppose, like, the people who want to play DMZ will play DMZ. You do zombies using those maps, because once again, zombies is just DMZ with a new coat of paint on it. So the amount of effort to go into it isn't super high. And of course, with DMZ updates, you can kind of just update Warzone to coincide with it. Hey, we changed this thing. Cool, we changed it in this mode too. You do all that, and I think it's a solid free-to-play option. But this all culminates with the issue of you're still sacrificing core multiplayer. And I think some content creators for COD have kind of wisened up at this point and realized, oh, we don't matter as much anymore. The Warzone side is what gets all the attention. Which, like people have said, now normal MP gets to feel what the zombies community has felt for a very long time. And yeah, it's what it is. But I think they would never do that because they would rather have the money from the annual purchases than a very well-designed free-to-play mode. Because the only way they would do it otherwise is if they went full COD Mobile and introduced, like... God, it would have to probably be... Like, they'd bring back the loot boxes, for sure. It would be the loot boxes. Which, if you've never watched COD Mobile, guys, do those. It's really sad. Because, like, there's a guy I watch, Jokesta. He's pretty good at the game. And I've watched him do some of these box openings, and he's just like, oh yeah, this is like $200 to get this. And it's just like a legendary or mythic skin. And I'm just sitting here going, you pay... I mean, for him it's not a big deal because you can write it off as a business expense. But your average person cannot sit there and go, oh yeah, I'll throw $200 pulling the proverbial slot machine lever to get a skin. So it's like they could go that route, but I would not blame people for absolutely ripping COD devs a new asshole for that one. I would be more shocked if people didn't rip into him for such a thing. So, makes sense they would never do it on consoles. The mobile market... God, the mobile market is gross. And that's where a lot of studios, I think, kind of pull from when it comes to this live service model, is they look at the mobile market and they're like, oh, well, we have all these people with poor self-control spending $600 on this thing. And it's like, yeah, dude, not everybody's like that. Mobile has the advantage of being able to reach more people, which is kind of what they keep pushing for is, oh, we can reach more people with our games now. We want to reach more and more. And it's like, yeah, you don't care about, like, actually getting more people to play these games. You care about getting more, like, gambling addicts. Because typically those people who are spending hundreds of dollars, they're gambling addicts. It's either that or they're someone who is fanatical. I always remember playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes when Jango Fett came out. I went onto the forums and there was a dude who spent like $200 or $300 buying the like event pack or whatever to get Jango Fett shards. I can't remember if it was an event thing or if it was like energy refreshes and map refreshes, but he spent hundreds of dollars to get him to max rank, maxed him out, and then went, oh, he's terrible, this studio is bad, it's all a scam. I'm like, my guy, you fell for the whole bait here. Like, there's no one else here you can blame but yourself. But those people are always the ones they go for. Which is always sad. Because, like, those people aren't healthy. You know, a gambling addict is an addict. They will do just like a crackhead, just like an alcoholic. They will do anything to get what they need. It's how some people are like shopaholics. Or people who do like retail therapy. Oh, I feel bad. I'm gonna spend $600. It's like, yeah, maybe find a better coping mechanism, perhaps. And people don't grasp that by enabling this stuff, it just pushes it onto all of us. And if we can get rid of these really player-hostile designs, games get a lot better. A rising tide raises all ships. We hopping on, everybody, or are we trying to...
Losing air support.
Oh yeah, we're hopping on. He just 500 kilogrammed us.
Launch in 20 seconds.
Not gonna lie, I hate when people do that.
Extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning ascent.
I get it, it did kind of free up the space for the guy to run in, but I've seen enough people get screwed doing that that it's not fun. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.